3341, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Volta Premier and Ho, Bishara Radio, and also Radio Max in Takrade, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, residents of Amansia South in the Ashanti region declare area off limits for political campaigning, insisting past pledges to connect them to the national electricity grid remain unfulfilled.
But if we don't see electric power in our towns, nobody should campaign here.
We have details also in this bulletin, a quest to make history and a design or the desire to let things remain the same.
A bigger gap. In 2016, I had nothing to show. Now we have lots to show.
Time for all of us to come together and wrestle the seats from the MPP.
The race for the Adenta parliamentary seat, your election headquarters, presents The Battleground, a show that engages constituents and candidates, takes off at 8 p.m. tonight. This year's edition starts with the race between Yao Buabinya Samoa and Mohammed Ramadan. Stay for details. CDD's latest report on government's $1 million per constituency reveals lack of transparency in the construction of infrastructural projects dotted across the constituencies.
The lack of transparency has got to do with the cost of some of the projects. And in some of our earlier reports, we have requested the ministry to be more transparent.
I have all the details, and students in some of the country's public universities kick against increase in fees for the upcoming academic year, saying the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly impacted their finances.
I seriously think that new school fees is overly expensive.
I was dumbfounded to see such an increase in fees.
We're here from Nooks, which is asking students in affected institutions not to pay the new fees.
And so Nooks is calling on all students to hold on with payment. Or even if they would make payment, they should make only half payment.
In sports,
we'll hear from former Minister of Sports Neil Lante van der Poel, who's accusing the ruling MPP government of engaging in what he calls cosmetic sports.
And much later, female musicians always complain of problems in the music industry. Well, dancehall musician Miss V has revealed her encounters from prospective investors in the music industry.
And when I go and sit in an office, they say, "Oh, come, I want to help." So if you want to stay in this and stay in it right and get where you want to, it's very tough.
We have that and more here in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. And this is certainly your election headquarters. We start off from the Ashanti region, where chiefs and people of 5 communities in the Amansia South district have served notice. They will resist all forms of political campaigns and voting processes until the town is connected to the electricity grid. Led by their chiefs, they poured onto the streets demanding electricity before the December elections. They say promises by successive governments have not yielded any results. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko traveled to the area. Here's his report.
This is the Adeja Chief's Palace. It is powered by this small power generator. This is because communities here have not seen electricity for a long time. From Adeja to Jumako, Kofi Diaka Krum Nyamebetre, Brecha Krum to Ohiam Penika, the chiefs and people have made electricity supply a major election issue. Notices have been mounted at vantage points in these towns indicating no light, no vote. Today, indigents from the 5 communities came together to give a voice to their plight.
Due to the electricity problem, our kids, in the evening time, they won't get light to do their further studies.
Some use torchlights and candles to study, but this is risky.
They promised us in 2018 they will connect us to the national grid. We have not seen anything since then. If we don't see any sign that they are giving us electricity, we won't vote.
And now there's a crane. Yabatwaba.
The chief of Adeja, Nana Kwabena Sabin II, served notice they will not allow any form of political campaign in the affected towns until plans are initiated to connect them to the national grid. Successive governments have failed us, but if we don't see electric power in our towns, nobody should campaign here. We don't need anybody's ballot box. Let Nanado hear this, that if he doesn't give us electricity, we won't vote.
So we are talking about 5 communities coming together to demonstrate today, and the message is simple. They want to tell government that until they see electricity or power connecting to their homes here at Adeja and its environs, they will not allow any form of campaigning to go on here. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Adeja, Manso, in the Ashanti region.
And we're still working to get some answers on that situation in the area. But this is still your election headquarters. And in every election, there are battles. Battles for the voter stamp. This year, your election headquarters is redeploying boots on the ground on the new show, Battleground. This show brings the microphone to listeners of your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM, in our carefully selected constituencies every Thursday at 8 p.m. Here's what to expect ahead for tonight's show.
The Adentan constituency will on December 7 see a keenly contested race. The MPP's Yabuabian Samoa will be seeking to make history as the only MP to be retained.
A bigger gap. In 2016, I had nothing to show. Now, we have lots to show.
The NDC's Mohammed Ramadan will want history to remain unchanged as he maintains Yao Boabin Asamoah does not deserve a second term.
It's time for all of us to come together and wrestle the seats from the MPP.
The constituents who are politically conscious simply cannot wait.
It is not going well at all, because at the time the NPP was taking over government, we thought they would do things different.
Big Joe's friend, you see, has a contrary opinion. He insists Yao Boabin Asamoah deserves a second term.
They are telling lies. We are not losing. Things are cool here.
And just a bit of what to expect tonight. And lead producer Joseph Akablay joins me in studio. What kind of battle will it be?
It will be intense. We'll hear from the candidates and the analysis. That is what people should look forward to, give them an understanding of how the constituency has voted in times past and who is likely to win. If you want to know who is winning the seat, just tune in. And more importantly, the message from the candidates as well as the constituents who have been speaking, some of whom we heard, they say they are ready to vote.
So why the choice of Adenta to start the battleground this year?
Do you want long analysis or short analysis? Adenta, because it's a seat that has been won twice by the MPP and twice by the NDC, and so they don't retain their MPs too. If you go one term, it's either you lose in a main election or you lose in a primary, so that is what to look out for.
And that's how the battleground will be tonight at 8 p.m. Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, Elton Brobe will have Winston Namwa, the deputy head of the political desk. Joseph Akablay, you've just heard him, he's the lead producer of the show. Daniel Darcy as well as Kojo Youngson. And it's our team, I'll be hosting them. I'll be the commander-in-chief on the battleground tonight at 8 p.m. This is your election headquarters. And we hit the campaign trail now. Former President John Mahama has arrived in the Bono East region for a 3-day tour. Correspondent Anas Sabit joins us with more on that. Anas, what has he been doing? Hello, Anas. It appears colleague Anas Sabit is here to join us, but we can listen to excerpts of what the former president has been up to. Of course, that's the former President John Mahama, and we know that President Akufo-Addo just recently returned from the Bono and adjoining regions, and we understand that he's in Accra. Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton Brobe joins us with more. Elton, bring us up to speed on what the president has been up to.
So last week, as you mentioned, the president was in the Bono region and the Ahafo regions to cast forward for some projects to test, inspect those that, and then also made some pronouncements regarding the government agenda 111, which according to him will see to the construction of hospitals in underserved areas. It is among the 88 districts without hospital. Government wants to construct 100-bed hospitals in these areas. You also mentioned the fact that government will undertake the construction of hospitals in the major regions that were carved out of the Bono Ahafo region. Also, the president also inaugurated the respective House of Chiefs for the regions because of the creation. The Bono region, the Bono East region, and the Ahafo region all were going to the Bono Ahafo region House of Chiefs, but with the creation, they now have their own separate House of Chiefs. So this was also done. And we went on to inspect ongoing projects, cut short for new ones to start, and that has been it. And remember that this week he's been in Accra. He attended a consultative meeting on ECOWAS. Yesterday he inducted into office new High Court judges, and today he's just working at the Jubilee House.
Well, that's our presidential affairs correspondent. We know that the running mate of former President John Mahama is still on a tour in the Western region, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the vice president, is also in Accra. And yesterday, he witnessed the signing of an MOU between Volkswagen and another company. And of course, he made a pronouncement on the Okada saying that they will not legalize it. We'll stay on the campaign trail a while longer, but this time we have a peace message for today. It's coming from evergreen gospel musician Pastor Joe Beecham. He spoke earlier on Joy FM's morning devotion program, Joy Time, in his presence.
It takes men, human beings, to build a nation. So our dear beloved Ghana is precious. We have a lot of peace. Don't set the nation on fire. Don't burn the nation. Reuben told the brothers, shed no blood. So let us preserve it because it is yours, it is mine. Our forefathers did their part. It is our turn to do ours. You say you are from up there, somebody's from down there, tribal cards, you know, and all that. He says, no, don't forget that I'm your brother and you are my brother.
And we definitely are not allowing anybody to burn this nation. And an interim report by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, has reviewed that infrastructure projects are constructed under government $1 million per constituency initiative lacks transparency. Research analyst at CDD, Gilfred Siama Boating, who presented findings of their monitoring, observed there was little or no information about the cost of projects and the contractors involved. Mr. Siama also established that some of the projects are wasting away because of their poor siting within the beneficiary constituencies.
Almost all the projects do not have information at their site. So you don't know the contractor, you don't know the consultant, you don't know the duration within which the project is supposed to be implemented. And when some of these key initiatives or key details are lacking, it means communities cannot hold the stakeholders to account. You can't question the contractor because you don't have the details. You can't question the development authority because you don't have the detail. You don't know when the project is supposed to be implemented.
Meanwhile, Chief Technical Advisor at the Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, Andrew Asibe, says the survey does not paint the true picture.
They stopped in February 2020 and we are in September. So in between, a lot could have taken place. So they may have to go back and see whether some of the observations they made still pertain.
And for the ministry, do you think that between February and now there has been some progress, massive progress?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because our assessment, the rapid assessment of One Village, One Dam, went beyond February. And the interviews we had indicated that the beneficiaries appreciate the efforts of government.
That's the Chief Technical Advisor at the Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, Andrew Asibe. That'll be it for the election headquarters here on the Midday News. There's more election-related matters on Election Brief at 1:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. On to some other issues now. Some students of the University of Ghana and the Ghana Institute of Journalism are kicking against the increase in fees for the 2020-2021 academic year. Per the fees and charges, all fees and charges must receive parliamentary ratification before coming into effect. The University of Ghana and the Ghana Institute of Journalism are the only public tertiary institutions to have released their fee schedule for the upcoming academic year after the COVID-19 restrictions forced schools to be closed for months. At the University of Ghana, there's an increase of more than 12%. The students say this is insensitive considering the financial toll the COVID-19 pandemic has had on them.
I seriously think that the new school fees is overly expensive because looking at everything that has happened with the coronavirus and everything, I really think our parents are, some of them have lost their jobs, some of them are working from home and all that. So money is really hard to come by lately. And so the increment is very, very sad.
I was dumbfounded to see such an increase in fees considering the times we are in and how this virus has affected businesses and households. I think management should have a broader consultation.
It's surprising how we are going to school for only 6 weeks and instead thinking the school might actually reduce the school fees, we are going to pay huge fees as of last term. That is really surprising because during this COVID-19 case, I thought I was going to pay less school fees for 6 weeks, for example, and wow, the school fees have increased. That's really, really heartbreaking to most of us.
I think it's the wrong call for management to increase fees at this time. I mean, we are still in COVID. Businesses are not going on well and all that. Besides, we are still using the online learning sessions. So I really think they should sit down again, have a discussion, and then do something about the fees because the increment is not going to help us at all.
Now, Nook says it's also concerned about the hikes and has asked students in affected institutions not to pay the new fees. Divine Edem Kwajode is General Secretary of Nooks.
Nook agrees with the position of students who are agitated. Actually, Nook has been engaging with government for about 2 or 3 weeks now to reduce the fees. We are aware of the fact that public institutions start at fees. The Parliament of the Republic should have approved them through the Committee of Education. And so most of our engagements moving forward will be done at the Committee of Education level of Parliament.
General Secretary of Nooks, and apologies for the poor sound there. This is the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on myjoyonline.com as well as on our Facebook and our social media platforms. Our top stories: residents of Amansia South in the Ashanti region declare area off limit for political campaigning, insisting that past pledges to connect them to the national electricity grid remain unfulfilled. And we've been talking about the battleground with the focus on the Adenta constituency. The show starts tonight at 8 p.m. Still to come.
Me coming to dance to them will make them feel they are part of us, those who are not disabled.
We'll tell you the story of the young choreographer entertaining Takrady Street Burgers. Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. We'll go for sports shortly, but let me tell you about the story of a 23-year-old choreographer braving the odds to perform for homeless and disabled people. Clifford Kobina believes by going out of his way, people who otherwise would have no source of entertainment will feel welcome in society. From the Western Regional Capital of Takoradi, Justice Bedu has a story.
People on the street, people who are begging, the disabled people, they normally don't walk or they normally don't hear or see anything. They just be on the street and beg. Me coming to dance to them will make them feel they are part of us, those who are not disabled.
Money go, money come, more kwacha, more macha, man speed up, yepe, I won't feel like Cali boss.
Chocolate has tried for years to break through in an industry that hardly has any opportunities for talent outside Accra, the country's capital. Now, after many attempts, he is taking things in his own hands, forming his own choreographic group, and hoping that by reaching out to the city's vulnerable, he could finally be seen.
I have a group that I've named it Team Heist. They are a young talent which I saw them on the street dancing, and I started picking them to come together so that we can make a team.
Chocolate is a friend. He has opened his own door for everyone to come and dance with him.
Adi, Sangu! For Chocolate, the sky is a springboard he is hoping to jump onto someday.
In the achievement we want to achieve in the dance industry the next 5 years or the 10 years is that we want to bring up the young talent from the slum or from the streets who don't have the proper education or the proper resources as the TV, the radio. We want to bring them all together because we have many talents in our region, our Western region, so that them too they can feed on their talent.
Well, that got me dancing. Let's do sports now. Hans Mensando.
Hi, Emefa. And former Minister of Sports Nilanti Vandapo has accused the ruling MPP government of engaging in what he calls cosmetic sports. The former minister says the government's claim of developing sports on the basis of building infrastructure in some parts of the country is flawed.
Now let me come to sports. This government has virtually done what we call cosmetic sports. What I mean is that they think that just going around the country and dotting recreational grounds around is what we call development of sports. No. Sports the world over is put on 3 pillars: development, promotion, and management. Every sporting activity. So if you get up and all that you want to talk about development of sports and then develop sports, you go and build recreational grounds instead of building sports facilities. You are not developing sport. Just as you were thinking about football, think about athletics, think about volleyball, basketball, and other sporting disciplines within this area. For example, if the schools in this area want to do schools and colleges, which athletic track would they use? So this particular government has totally lost it.
So that's former Minister of Sports Nilanti Vandapoy. And if you're a Liverpool fan, rejoice because Thiago Alcantara is almost done. Probably the singular reason why Liverpool will be retaining the Premier League title this season. That's your sports.
Thank you very much, Hans. And the preliminary stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz is in the Volta OT zone and the Shanti region with some exciting, nerve-wracking fixtures. So some of the top schools in the Volta region, including Ola Girls Senior High School, Bishop Herman College and Maoli School, are all battling for the place at the 1-8 stage of the competition. Quiz mistress for the preliminary rounds, Gladys Swinger, says she's expecting more competitive contests at this stage.
I'm expecting very exciting contests. I'm sure they were observing what went on in the Eastern region. They have seen my style and they would have adapted to my style and they would give up their best. I wish them all the best. Left to me alone, they would all qualify.
And of course, the first contest of the day in the Volta region has just ended with Sunrise SHS crashing at Idoma SHS and Vakbo SHS, and that's how Ola girls will do it. Becky is already jubilating in the studio, Sunrise old student. But Maxwell Agwagwa is in the Volta region with the team. He joins us with more on this. Maxwell, how did Sunrise do it? Is Ola doing it well?
Well, they dominated the contest throughout the rounds, and many expected them to put up that performance because in the regional qualifiers, they actually won with 39 points. We know of Sunrise Senior High School, they made their first appearance at the National Science and Maths Quiz in the year 2018, and they shocked Ghanaians when they beat Opokuwari School in that contest. That denied Opokuwari from progressing in the next stage of the competition. So since then, yes, Sunrise Senior High School, they've really become a force to reckon with, and we'll be expecting them at the 1/8 stage of the competition. Ongoing now, though, is Maoli SHS. They've taken an early lead. Jojapenyi and Chito SHS, they are trailing behind them. But later, the last contest for the day, we're going to have your school, Ola Girls SHS. We just waited to see how that is going to happen here.
Oh, it's a done deal, Agwagwa. And my colleague PSA is in the Ashanti region. PSA, briefly tell us how the competition is panning out where you are.
Yes, so in the Ashanti region, Emefa, the first school to win today is Dagogo State College. They came down with 50 points, winning over Kumasi Tech and Islamic SHS. And it was interesting, since last year, Dagogo State College, they were disqualified for filing an illegal candidate, if you may put it that way, a candidate that later, per findings, they realized they had completed school a long time ago. So this year, they said they've cleaned up their sheets and they are aiming for the trophy. And an interesting thing was how they all came here in white suits with interesting designs and green and white shoes. You can check out our viewers, our listeners can check out that on Joy News. Very colorful designs right there.
Okay, and that's my colleague PSA Nanaya Asafo. Remember, the coverage of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz is brought to you by Joy News, your most credible news source, and supported by Bright SHS Kukran Tumi, DBS Colorlink Plus Roofing Sheets, Adonko Hand Sanitizer, and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink. And election years, especially a few months to the election, they are often characterized by road traffic accidents, which are often fatal. The National Road Safety Authority says though the COVID-19 pandemic has drastically reduced mass movement for political activities, they've still put in place measures to reduce crashes. Northern Regional Director of the National Road Safety Authority, Alexander Ayeta, has more.
We are working hard to see to that before December, we would have even also had a chance to talk to the political leaders to see how anytime there's a rally, how do they convey their people? How do they organize timing of transport? How do they at least arrange so that when they are driving a convoy, how do they give that kind of that space between the front car, the lead car, and the timing of a movement, the number of people in a car?
That's the Northern Regional Director of the National Road Safety Authority, Alexander Ayeta. Arrival Live is proudly brought to you by Toyota Ghana, Bedrock Insurance, and Logistics Movers. And Becky, host of E-Vibes, is here in the studio.
Yes.
What's up today?
Former student of Sunrise Christian High School. Emefa award-winning singer Miss V has revealed some of the challenges she faces as a musician in a male-dominated industry. She said she had to deal with sexual advances from prospect investors in the industry. She said this on the Strong and Sassy show with Inimwa.
Okay. If, say, two people were looking for if you went to sit in an office, the man will talk to him and shake him, and when I go and sit in an office, they say, oh, come, I want to help. So if you want to stay in this and stay in it right and get where you want to, it's very tough for a girl. Some man that you respect so much on TV, and he says, oh yeah, come to me, and then you are still where you are.
You know, that makes me really sad, because last week it was the same thing. Office. It's not a strictly business conversation. It always
starts. And then this, okay, take my number, okay. Then they'll message you.
So that was Miss V on Strong and Sassy, talking about some challenges that she faces, when,
We all face those challenges, don't we?
I know.
Thank you, Becky. I'll meet you out there. You're on Joy News?
Yes.
With the latest
in
on
a minute.
Entertainment, of course. And Amele, at 1.
Well, in business this afternoon, Ghana has been ranked 130th in the Human Capital Index, but COVID-19 pandemic threatens the little gains in the past decade. We'll bring you all the details at 1.
And do you know what is running after you? Pastor Mensa Otabil has the first episode of that title right after the break. There's more news when you log on at myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Thanks so much for your company.